Lesson 5-1 Zero exponent and negative exponents. Objective: I can simplify expressions with exponents less than or equal to 0. Essential question: how do I simplify expressions with 0 and negative exponents? So let's talk about the parts of one of these powers. The big number, which we'll call b in this case, is the base. It's the number or variable that is being multiplied repeatedly in the expanded form. And then the little number in the top right-hand corner, the n, is the exponent, the value that specifies how many times the base will be multiplied by itself. Multiplicative identity examples. This is zero exponent rule. So let's recall from elementary school, we divide a number by itself, the quotient is 1. For example, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So, if we have 2 to the 0th power, that equals 1. But the reason why is because, okay, so 0 is the same thing as 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. If we were to write that in expanded form, we would have 2 divided by 2. Because the 2 in the numerators are positive exponent, the 2 in the denominators your negative exponent, the negative 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. If we look at 3 to the 0 power, that's going to also be 1. So if we rewrote that out, we could say it is 3 to the 1 times 3 to the negative 1. That's the same thing as 3 divided by 3. That equals 1. X to the 0th power, that's also 1. Parentheses negative 31 to the 0th power, that's also 1. I to the 0th power, that's 1. Any base raised to the 0th power is going to be 1. Unless the base is 0, then it would be undefined. Be careful if there is a number in front, such as like a minus sign, because that would change that to a negative 1. Also, if you had something like a 2 in the front, that would be 2 times 1, and that's 2. Now let's look at some negative exponent examples. So we have 4 divided by 3 to the negative 2nd power. So what we want to do here is first distribute the negative 2 into each base. So you have 4 to the negative 2 over 3 to the negative 2. Whenever you have a negative exponent, you want to flip the fraction. You flip that power over the bar. So that becomes 3 to the positive 2 power divided by 4 to the 2nd power. And we can simplify this as 9 over 16. Sometimes your answer will be in this form, and sometimes your answer will be in this form. Exponential form, standard form. So that would be your simplified expression. Now 2 to the negative 3rd power, notice we don't have a denominator. If there's no denominator, you can automatically say that there's a 1 down there. So if you flip the negative 3 over the bar, you have 1 over 2 to the 3rd power, 2 cubed. And if you were to expand that, you'd have 1 over 2 times 2 times 2. And that equals 1 over 8. So this is the exponential form, expanded form, standard form. They usually have them in either exponential form or standard form. Expanded form is just showing the process between the two. Okay, let's look at the next one. Negative 12 times a cubed times b to the negative 1. Well, these are all different bases, so you can't combine anything. But we do have a negative exponent, and answer choices are almost always in only positive exponents. So, we're going to flip this over the bar. There's really a 1 down there. 1 times b to the first power is just b. So our simplified expression would be negative 12 times a cubed divided by b. And that's our simplified expression. Okay, let's look at the next one. 5 times a to the negative second power times b to the fourth power. Well, this was positive this time, but the a is not. So we're going to flip that a squared over the bar. So it becomes 5 times b to the fourth power divided by a squared. Notice that the negative sign becomes a positive, and it goes from the numerator to the denominator. Whenever you flip a power over the bar, the exponent changes signs. Let's look at these. 1 over 2 to the negative third power. Now this is already in the denominator, but we just do the same thing. We flip it over the bar, over the fraction, and it becomes 1 times 2 to the third power. That equals 2 times 2 times 2. That equals 8. We also multiplied by 1, but that's still just the same number. So we have 2 to the third power, also known as 8. Either of those could be the correct answer. Exponential form and standard form. Now we have 1 over x to the negative third power. Flip the x to the negative third over the bar and change the sign. So it becomes x to the positive third power. So x cubed is our answer, our simplified expression. Let's look at this example. Multi-step expression with negative exponents. So we have x to the negative first power divided by y to the negative third power times z to the fourth power, all raised to the negative fifth power. Now the first thing you want to do is the inside parentheses. So we're going to flip all the negative exponents over the bar. So the x goes down here, the y goes up here. So if we rewrite that expression, we get y to the third power, so y cubed, divided by x times z to the fourth power, all raised to the negative fifth power. From here, we want to distribute the negative 5 into each base's exponent. So it's going to be negative 5 times 3, negative 5 times 1, and negative 5 times 4. So I'm going to write that out. Y to 3 times negative 5 all over x to 1 times negative 5 power times z to 4 times negative 5 power. Okay, multiply these out and then rewrite it. You get y to the negative 15th power divided by x to the negative 5th power times z to the negative 20th power. Now, this isn't our answer yet because we have negative exponents again. So you're going to repeat step 1 and flip each negative power over the bar again. That's step 3. So let's write that out. So the y to the negative 15th is going to be flipped down to the bottom. The x goes at the top. The z goes at the top. So in the numerator we have x to the 5th power times z to the 20th power all over y to the 15th power. All the bases have been simplified. You can't simplify it anymore because all the exponents are positive. There's no fractions to simplify, and each of the bases cannot be simplified further because they are different. Example: dividing rational expressions with negative exponents. So we have 12x divided by 4y to the negative 1 divided by 3a to the negative 2nd power all over 2b to the 6th power. So what you want to do first is keep the first fraction, change the operation of multiplication, and flip the second fraction. So we'll write that out. And remember, this is possible because remember, when you divide by something like divide by 3, that's the same thing as multiply by 1/3. Okay, step 2, you want to multiply straight across. Straight across on the numerator, straight across on the denominator. When we're doing that, we're going to put the like bases together if there are any. In this case, there's not any like bases though. But we can still multiply 12 times 2, which is 24. X times b to the 6th power. All over 4 times 3, which is 12. Y to the negative 1st power times a to the negative 2nd power. From here we want to simplify the numerical fraction part, the 24 over 12. Well, 24 divided by 12 is just 2, so we can rewrite it again. 2x b to the 6th power all over y to the negative 1, a to the negative 2. Now the last thing we want to do is move the negative exponents and flip them over the bar. So that a to the negative 2 is going to go up there, the y to the negative 1 is going to go up there. Look, our denominator is only going to have a 1 left over in the bottom, in the denominator. So our answer will just be 2a squared b to the 6th power, x to the 1st power, and y to the 1st power. The standard way to write your answers is to put each variable in alphabetical order. A, B, X, Y. That's alphabetical order, and then you put your coefficient in the front. That's the 2. We have one more. Evaluate an exponential expression. So we have f of w equals 1,200 divided by 2 to the wth power. So we're going to have f of negative 2 equals, so we copy down everything from the formula exactly how we see it, except instead of w, you replace each w with parentheses negative 2. This is a negative exponent, so you're going to flip it over the bar. So we have 1,200 times 2 to the 2nd power. 2 to the 2nd power is 2 times 2, which is 4. If you are to multiply that out, you get 4,800. So that's f of negative 2. So f of negative 2 equals 4,800.